In this video, I'm going to talk about the Zed vs Irelia matchup. I'm a Challenger Zed main on EOS who peaked 1200 LP this season. If Zed matchup guides and montages interest you, do subscribe since I'll be making those kind of videos for now. I also stream high elo EOS to Zed gameplay on Twitch, so feel free to check out the description for that. For the format of this video, I'll first give my thoughts on the best runes and summoners to take and why. After that, I'll put sort of random background footage of me playing against Irelia and just talk through like tips and tricks that you can utilize throughout the game, starting from level 1 and going upwards. After that, I'll talk about item builds and wrap it up with a summary. So without further ado, let's get into it. For runes, I like going Conqueror against Irelia. I think Electrocute, obviously on Zed, is pretty weak, and against Irelia it's even more weak because once she gets Vamp Scepter, she just starts healing through everything, right? So your short trades from these runes, like you would take Scorch, I guess, it's not, like, these runes are not good, right? It's similar with First Strike. First Strike gives you weak early game, weak laning phase, but it's like a bursty sort of poke rune thing, right? Keystone, right? But I think it makes you too weak in the early game, in the sense that you would give too much control to Irelia, that she could easily snowball if you take First Strike, in my opinion. So I like going Conqueror for the most kill pressure, and then Presence of Mind for the scaling, of course. Alacrity, because always Alacrity, it's the most smooth one. It's the one that's going to give you the most value, I think, across maybe, like, I don't know, if you take 100 games, Alacrity is probably going to be the best one in like 80 of them. And then Last Stand is a similar thing, right? It's Alacrity and Last Stand both like apply across various situations in games, so more so than the other runes, so it's better like that. And then for the secondary runes, I like to go Demolish, because against Irelia, she dashes to your minions, so if she recalls or something and you push in the wave and you want to take a plating, it's much easier with Demolish. You don't have to stand on the tower and keep hitting it for too long. So, you know, when you see her walking back up into the lane, as you're hitting the tower, you know, you're not gonna still be on the tower because you demolish the one plating and then you run away. Otherwise, if you don't have it, then you would have to stick to it, and then she might kill you because she can dash through the minions that are hitting her tower. Like your minions, right, if that makes sense. And I like going Bone Plating because, well, I think Bone Plating is the best because the level 1 and 2, like the early levels, it's going to help you a lot. When she gets her 3 stacks on the first 3 minions and then she dashes on you, you can sort of bait her into your backline minions, but if you don't have Bone Plating, she's gonna still kind of win that trade, even with your minions. So Bone Plating makes it much easier. You'll hard win the trade, especially if you hold Q and then you hit her with Q in that first level. So that's mainly why I take those 2 runes, or I think those 2 runes are best. And then Adaptive, and Armor. If you take Ghost as a summoner spell, you can consider going these runes, which is what I did in the footage. But even with Ghost, I think these runes should be the best. I usually just sort of take whatever runes because I don't really... I just take whatever for fun, but we're talking about what's the best, right? Summoner spells, I like taking Flash and Ignite, or Ghost and Ignite. I think Ignite is important because she heals so much, and if you want to have sort of kill pressure on her, like early on, it's important to have Ignite, in my opinion. But you can obviously go Flash and Teleport, of course, if you really want to teleport. But I don't like giving control against the Irelia. I like trying to kill her and stuff, because it's kind of a volatile matchup, I guess. So I think Flash and Ignite are the best. You can use your Flash to like dodge her E. If she holds her E and she uses it a bit late, you can use your Flash and then you can like try to kill her that way. Otherwise, if you have Ghost, you can try to sidestep it, you know. And Ignite is to sort of try to kill her and stop her healing, you know, all that good stuff. So Flash and Ignite, or Ghost and Ignite. I recommend Flash over Ghost though. So Flash and Ignite. Level 1, you don't want to push the wave because Irelia is very strong early game. So if you push the wave against her, she can easily like zone you off. She also uses your minions against you, so you know she can dash through your minions and zone you off that way as well. So you know, don't push the wave basically, level 1. And apart from that, he's going to use his Q on the first 3 minions, and then he'll probably look to Q you. That's what basically every Irelia does. So you can like sort of bait him in. He probably won't even check that you have bone plating. So if you have bone plating and he Qs into you, and you're like close to your backline minions, you can just auto Q, you know, stay calm, just auto Q, and then just auto him again. And if he keeps autoing you, you'll win for sure because you have bone plating, and you can maybe get a really good trade from that. With these auto trades against Irelia, do take into account that she does have like a higher attack range, so a lot of the time you'll have to take an extra auto just on the way out, right, backing out. Don't feel too bad about that. It's better to just take that extra auto than to try and space her and then get auto spaced, and then she'll just get 3 auto attacks while you just don't do anything, so yeah. Another thing I didn't say is that you can go 3 potions. Longsword 3 potions is pretty good against Irelia because of these trades, and sort of also when she stacks the wave and crashes it, the first 2 or 3 waves, then you kind of need to be healthy for that, otherwise she can dive you, because Irelia has, you know, she has a lot of damage at level 3. If she hits her E and she has her passive stacked, it's very easy for her to dive you, especially if she has Ignite, so you need to keep yourself healthy. So taking 3 potions is not too bad. At level 2 you have to be really careful. She has her E now, so I usually like going W second just in case to try and dodge her E, and sometimes it can be helpful if I can react in time. It's easier to dodge it and just trade W for her E and keep farming. I think it's a good strategy. Otherwise, if you have a lot of confidence that you'll dodge her E, then you can go E second, but if she hits her E on you, you're going to lose no matter what, so levels 3 until 6, you want to do your best to just chill and farm, I think, unless you're getting a gank from your jungler. Then you can maybe try to bait her in, because Irelia's love to try to kill you, you know, jump on your minions and use their E on you. So it's very easy to bait Irelia in. So if your jungler's willing to help, that would be nice. If not, then you just want to farm up. Don't use your W forwards, because if she has a passive stacked and you do that, even if you dodge her E, she will probably still run you down. After level 6 it gets a bit easier. You still never want to fight Irelia in your minions in general, like throughout the whole game you'll probably not want to do that. It's always going to be disadvantageous. But you can use your WE forwards, just your W1 forwards if there are no minions around, and you can kind of poke her like that, or you can take an all in. But usually after level 6 you're going to want to use your ult to dodge something, either her E or her ult. So use your W to dodge something and your ult to dodge something. That's in like the perfect scenario, and then you'll likely win, as long as there's no minions around as well, right? So that's how you want to do it. Use your W2 to dodge her E, and then maybe use your ult to dodge her ult while there's no minions around, and then you can win the 1v1. But usually you're not designed to win the 1v1 against Irelia in lane, kind of. It's much easier to bait this champion into your team, you know, bait her into ganks, because she has to dash forwards into your minions, right? So a lot of the time your team usually will be willing to help you. If they aren't, you can kind of ping for help. Irelia is very gankable, I think, and Zed is not. That is the sort of the thing you want to play around in this matchup. So yeah. Also, I don't recommend taking trades with you know, your backwards W after she completes Vamp Scepter. You know, you could like walk up to the minion that you think she's going to dash to and then W back and Q auto and stuff like that. But after she has Vamp Scepter, I don't think that's a useful trade. I don't think it's a good trade, because she just heals too much. You're better off just holding your W. Once you finish Hydra and she finishes Blade of the Rune King, it becomes a bit easier to survive, because you can clear the wave faster, and the timing window of vulnerability, I guess, that you have while you're clearing the wave is lower. Although you will still lose the 1v1 all-in for sure. Also be careful that since she's finished Blade of the Rune King, she can one-shot the backline minions with her Q, so take that into account as you clear waves. Usually by the time that you finished Hydra, a Cleaver and Ionian Boots, you have a lead on Irelia, because if you played correctly, team would have helped you and they would have ganked her. Probably would have killed her. But you still need to be careful. If you get ahead, you still need to be very careful against Irelia, especially early on. She can still come back into the game very easily if you make a small mistake. She'll kill you quite easily. But apart from that, after your second item, every item after that, you're going to start outscaling very, very hard. So she's going to be stronger up until 2 items, and then every item after that, you become stronger. So you want to get Hydra, Cleaver, Duskblade, and then Last Whisper, and at that point, you should be pretty confident in fighting her in side lane 1v1. Away from the minions, of course. Or if you fight her, make sure that the minions are dead already. With that being said, I think it's better to try and team fight against Irelia, as opposed to attempting to kill her in the side lane. A lot of champs in League kind of just fuck her up in late game team fights. It's really hard for Irelia to team fight, unless she's like really, really good and she gets all the timings correct and everything. A lot of the champs just beat her, so working with your team and 5v5ing instead is going to be much better. Especially because Zed is very, very good in the team fights if you play them correctly. So, yeah, you want to take team fights instead of side lane fights. For items, you want to go Longsword 3 potion start. I went Longsword refillable for fun, but I don't think it's the best in this matchup. And then you want to go Hydra first with the Ionian boots. That gives you a lot of haste, a lot of wave clear, some decent sustain as well. And that's going to help you scale up. If you're ahead, then it's really nice to go Cleaver second. Even if you're not ahead, I think if you're like even, I think Cleaver second is also still good. You want to find an excuse to go Cleaver because I think it's a really good item. However, if you fall behind, it's much better to go Duskblade second for as much damage as possible to try and get like shutdowns and stuff. And if you're behind, then you want to go Grudge third after Duskblade and then Cleaver afterwards. If you're ahead or even, you want to go Hydra, Ionians, Cleaver, Duskblade, then Grudge. Either way, you're going to end up with those items at the end, right? And then for the last item, if you need Edge of Night, so if they have like, you know, Rakan ult, Nautilus Q, these sort of CC spells that will catch you out as you come out of ult, then you want to go Edge of Night. If they have a lot of shielding, you're going to want to go Serpents, maybe even earlier. If they really have too many shields, you want to go Serpents after Hydra, Cleaver, and Duskblade. Then you go Serpents. Otherwise, you just get Serpents last if they have some shielding. Another option is going Shojin last. If you're ahead and your team is ahead and you have access to the blue buffs, then I think going Shojin is very, very strong. Having Shojin when you have blue buff makes you much, much stronger than anything else, in my opinion, in the team fights. So yeah, I mean, either way, you're going to be really strong on those 6 items. And yeah, you can sell boots for any other sort of lethality item, I guess. I don't recommend going GA, but you can. I feel like if you go GA, you can't, like, usually when you go GA and die, the fight is lost, kind of, right? As said, you don't want to have any downtime. You kind of want to just take over the team fights, in my opinion. But that's just my personal playstyle sort of thing. I don't like being in GA and like relying on my team to sort of do stuff. I kind of like doing things myself. But in general, I like to keep boots as well because I like movement speed in the late game. If I sell boots, then it means I probably just need another item like Edge of Night or Serpents or something, because I do value the movement speed more in most games. But yeah, that's it for items. In summary, I think Irelia is a pretty hard matchup. I think the reason it's hard is because even if you get a lead, she can still kill you and shut you down very easily if you make a small mistake. Whereas if she gets a lead, it's pretty much impossible for you to shut her down. So you really have to be careful with that. But the whole point of the matchup is to sort of bait her into your team, kind of, you know, bait her into ganks and kill her that way. She is a champion that dashes to minions, so, you know, just like Yasuo, she's very gankable. That's sort of how you want to approach the matchup, I think, especially early on. Of course, you will outscale her and become much more useful in the late game team fight, so you want to sort of look forward and play towards that. That's basically it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.